Sports Women Connect. My name is Regina, your host. On this platform, we'll be talking about women in sport leadership. We'll be talking about women in sports coaching and mentorship. We'll be discussing issues around officiation and administration, as well as sports management. With me today is a special lady. She's a prominent woman in Ugandan sports circles. She's a politician, she's an entrepreneur, she's a businesswoman, she's a coach, and she's a mentor. She's so many things in one. And I'm just glad to have her in the studio. Madame Chocho, Immaculet Nalwada, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Regina. Thank you so much.
I get this feeling, I'm after Gachakunya, like you've just arrived. Tell us more about that.
Well, Regina. I went for a global sports mentorship program in the US. I've been there for the last 2 months. It's under the US Sports Diplomacy Program and the State Department.
Yes.
And I was mentored at the Big East by a woman who's very prominent in the US sports called Vala Kaman. Right now, she is the only female commissioner. They usually have conferences within the US, like conferences that lead to the NCAA.
Okay. What is NCAA?
Or the National Collegiate Sports, kind of like. It's more of the university sports here. Okay. But it's in the US, it's the big thing, actually.
It's colleges.
It's colleges,
okay,
or universities. That is why you see things like the Final Four. So it's really very prominent. At least
those are all confusing terms.
Yes.
For NCA, WAB. I mean, man, your terminologies have kind of. I am confused right now. What are we talking about?
We are talking about sports, Gina, here.
It's sports, but just break it down a little bit. Hey, the accent has changed, Vanangi. Please just.
Wow. The NCAA is a collegiate kind of like organization. It entails very many conferences, like the Big East. The Big East is one of them. Actually, it's the biggest conference in the US. Okay. And it has so many sports that are within it. It has soccer, it has basketball, ice hockey. It has all sorts of games, you can name it. But it's like the big thing in the US, university sports. So
how did you get to go for this course?
I would say I've always been a lucky person. I during my S6 vacation, I got a similar program. By then I was still young. So I met a person in the US called Ramon. We became friends, and I usually tell young people whenever we meet and I try to mentor them that what you post on Facebook determines your next step in life. I've been doing so many sporting activities within the youth in the ghettos. Like you said, I'm a politician. Not a bad politician, a good politician.
A youth politician?
Yes, I represent the youth at Kampala City Council Authority, Nakawa Division. I'm the youth councillor. So I've been having so many sporting activities among the youth, and I've been posting some of these, and that is how she kept on following me up. So you can imagine, this is somebody I met in 2011, and then she recommended me. She works with ESPN. She's actually the senior writer of ESPN. Most people that follow sports know.
ESPN?
ESPN is a sporting channel.
Okay.
It's a big thing in the US, actually. It's
just for the viewer who doesn't understand these terminologies, in sport, ESPN, WNBA, I don't know. So I'm just trying to make sure that all of us are on the same page.
Okay. WNBA, it's the Women National Basketball Association. It's a franchise from the NBA.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to tell you is sports in the US is privately owned. So the WNBA, the NBA, these are private entities. Actually, one thing you should know is the government does not invest. The government in the US does not invest in sports. It's privately owned, but it's a big thing.
Really?
Yes. The government only comes in when there is a team that is going to go for the Olympics, and maybe the national team. That is when it tries to come in. But all sports like the NBA, the WNBA, those are private franchise. The NFL, those are privately owned. That is why even you, Gina, you can go and buy a team in the US. And
that will be the day.
Exactly.
That will be the day. So, Madam Chocho, just tell us a bit of your experience.
Yes.
You're coming from the ghetto.
Yeah.
Like you
I'm
said, coming from the ghetto.
Yeah.
And arriving in the US. What was it like? Because of, I mean, it's because of training, education, and self-development, right?
Yeah.
How has that had an impact in your life?
First of all, I thank God. At times we are placed in certain places, but we don't know the opportunities that we have and how big we can become in this nation. That is why I fight so hard to see that all the ghetto kids realize their potentials in this world. I grew up in the ghetto, like you said. It's one of the biggest ghettos called Mulimira Zone near Kamocha. Everybody would know where Baby Wine comes from. So that is the ghetto I also grew up from. So throughout that ghetto, I had challenges during my school life. It started when I was still a young girl in my primary level. My father lost a job. I couldn't have money to go and study. But I was an athlete before I became a basketballer. So I used to do a lot of running. I was a 200-meter runner and a 100-meter runner. So I would run from my primary school, Karinabiri. So I kept in school because of sports, because the school felt I was one of their most prominent sportswomen. So I kept in school, but throughout that hustle and everything as a young girl, because my young sisters could not get that privilege, at times they would be sent out of school. So I would do certain odd jobs like fetching water for people, washing clothes, to make sure that I get some little money so that my young siblings stay in school. So I was a young girl, but I would make sure that at least my siblings will also stay in school. Little did I know that sports will even take me places, because my mom was just a woman who was selling passion fruits in the ghettos, exactly, fruits, and because back in the ghetto actually they call her Mama Bayaye, kind of, because everybody feels welcome near her. So basically after my primary school, I knew life was going to be a little bit harder if I'd come out, because my father had no job. So I made sure that I find something that can keep me in school.
Keep you busy.
And then not think about the life, and then because you're still young, at 11 years, 10 years, you don't want to really be stressed, and you know. So I left high school, I left primary school, and as I was walking around, I saw a basketball court. You know, one beauty about sports is you never leave it. Like there is always something that you want to keep trying. You want to keep doing it all the time. So I joined the team called Ladybugs back then when I was still young.
I think I was playing for MUK.
Yes, you were playing for MUK. Exactly. And we used to hit you.
No.
So we still hold the 8 consecutive wins. Yeah, okay. So basically, that is when I was still young. I started with club. I didn't start like the other normal kids, because usually kids start with school and then they go to club. Me, I started with club. So that is when Kitante saw me. Then I went playing. Then I went and did I got a scholarship at Chitante. But then I was joining my S1. I realized my father didn't have money, so I felt like maybe if I skip a class, things will run a little bit faster. So I joined Chitante in my S2.
Survival instinct.
Exactly, and I've always been a survivor, you know that. So I joined Chitante in S2 because the sportswomen and men at Chitante used not to ask us a lot of things like papers and what. So I played basketball for Chitante up to like 2013 for like 1 year. Then I later on Crane High saw me. I went to Crane High. I on a scholarship still. So I started from Crane High from 2004 to 2016 playing basketball and captaining the school team for all that long. So I did sciences at HSC. I got myself a scholarship under sports at Chambogo University. It's called the Talented People's Skill. It's for people that are doing sports and have excelled in academics. So there are certain points that are added to them so that they can get the 25 or the 24 points that can get them to university and government. So I did a bachelor's in computer science at Chambogo University. During that time, it wasn't easy for a freshman at Chambogo University to play on the university team, but I made it because I was good. During my I had a very good high school career. I won so many accolades, like I was the nationals MVP, like qualifiers. I was an MVP in the Seroma championship. I was a top scorer. I won so many. I think by that time,
putting points on the board.
At least anybody who grew up in my regime will never forget Chocho, because it was all over the news and people's, minds. So basically, I had a very good career in my high school. Then
a good basketball career.
Basketball career in my high school.
Okay, and all this was fueled by your education.
Exactly.
Or was it by sport?
Or
is it the other way around?
No, to be honest, I give it up to sports, because I don't think with the situation I grew up in the ghettos, if I didn't have a tool like sports, I would have gotten education. But you see, everything comes with sports. Even the position that I'm holding right now, it's because of sports. So when I joined Chambogo, I joined the university team. Then later on the next year, I became the captain, the university captain team. Then the other following year in 2012, I became the first female Games Union chairperson in Uganda.
Wow.
It was a tough one. It's the decision.
Were you competing against males or
males?
Females?
Actually, males.
And you're the only...
I was the only female. And it came as a situation because, and this is what I'm trying to fight for, Gina, gender equality. Because
gender equality, equity, which one?
No, equality. Okay. Because I remember that time we had a situation at Chambogo. We were supposed to go for the East African Games, but we were phased out. The girls were phased out, but it has always happened. But it kept on happening. You know, we are a little bit patient as women, but at times
we are very
patient, you know. But at times we run out of patience, and that was the final blow in 2011, when we trained so hard and prepared for the East African Games, and then the university decided to drop all the girls' teams, and the boys didn't even train. So you think of things that are happening at national level, even down things are happening. Women are still oppressed, even when they try so hard. So it is, I would say that was more of my turning point in my career. Like my
when you became the Games.
Yeah, because after that I felt so annoyed, and then I started a revolution. They know it at Chambogo, like women, this is our time. We need to vote in a woman so that things change. And every woman was behind me, and they were like, I think it's time to change. But you know, funny enough, even the male tutors and the other people kept on discouraging me that, you know, a woman can never lead, a woman can never become Games Union chairperson, the games are too many, you cannot lead the men. So those are the challenges, because anyway, you understand, you go back to your small bed and you're like, but can I?
You ask yourself,
so many
yourself those very hard questions.
But then when you come back to your girls, then they're like, let's go for it, Tugende, you understand?
Tugende, it means let's go, let's move, let's move. Yeah.
Let's move. So it was a very funny situation. So when you come and appear in public or with your fellow girls, you're like, yes, let's do this. Then you get back to your small bed and you're like, but can I?
Can I handle?
But then I was like, I have to do it. Funny enough, there were 6 men. Men actually, I would call them men, that were standing against me, and I was the only female one. And then they started dropping, but everybody that dropped would come to my side.
Would bring their supporters
and
to
you
your
know
side.
What they would say? In fact, I applaud the men that time. They're still my good friends. Like
they supported
me, and then they were like, I think we need change. Let's try and see if a female Games Union can manage Games Union. So they kept on coming, and we stayed, the 3 of us, 2 boys. And
hold on, did you realize at that time that now you kind of have the confidence and you can now actually manage, or it still kept coming back to you and you're thinking to yourself, no, I think I can't? When they were telling you these things, did you now realize that, okay, now I can become a sports manager?
Some of us that have been in election staff know when you have it. Towards the end of the whole process, you've campaigned, you've talked, you've done all sorts of things. You realize at that final stage, you realize you stand. When people start joining you, that means people have started believing in you.
But you believe in yourself.
Yes.
Because it starts with you.
Now I had the belief in myself that I'm going to become the Games Union chairperson.
Okay.
So that is when we went into the ballot paper, the ballot box, and I won them, by the way, with a very big margin, and my votes could not even, were more than the votes of the two people.
Really?
And it was too massive because for the
landslide,
first time,
landslide victory. Let's have a party.
Exactly. So for the first time, Uganda got a female Games Union chairperson.
At the university level.
Exactly. So from that time, that is when I was taken on by the National University Sports Federation. The current house, it's the Association of Ugandan University Sports.
Okay.
So I was the student representative of house. I was still voted, but the men voted for me more. So they believe, men, I really applaud. I usually keep telling people that me, I've always been mentored by men. Men have pushed me in my life. So I represented them, and then that is when Uganda Olympic Committee saw me. I worked at the Women and Sport Commission for 4 years.
Okay.
I was young, but I thank God that Mr. Bleak believed in me. In fact, I owe a lot to him because he's the reason why I'm really.
He's the reason why many of us are where we are, because
exactly.
he's really championed empowerment of women in sport.
Exactly.
Yeah?
So me, to be honest with you, I think that is the best he has ever done for me. He, you know, there is being in a position, but then there is also being empowered to do something.
Yes.
Those are two different things. He empowered me. He gave me a chance to lead in one of the biggest organizations at a tender age. And during that time, it was really quite hard. It was me and Aya that were there, that were very young.
If Mr. William Blake is watching right now, I mean, she may be speaking this, but there's so many of us who are saying he has done a great job for women in sport in Uganda.
Exactly.
He's really created the platform for us to advance in this, in sport management.
Exactly.
And in your opinion, what strategies for women to get into top leadership positions, what strategies do you think they should work on to get to that level where, you know, you realize that we're underrepresented at all levels, as coaches, as officials, as administrators, as managers? There's always that difference. What strategies do you think we can adapt in order to be able to curb that, to close that gap?
Maybe if I get back to who, because usually I tell them according to where I've passed, my experience to where I am right now. Or maybe I didn't tell people, but I've represented Uganda on several international forums in sports, very many forums in sports, honestly speaking, and I've traveled. And I'm finishing my master's in Olympic studies in Germany. So first of all, you have to I would call it, be coachable, be a person that is ready to learn, be a person that is ready to take criticism, whether it's positive or it's negative. That will help you grow. If women can do that, then that would be the best. Because I did that, and then I allowed people to help me. And then the other thing is, what is really failing us as women is we are not helping each other. The unity bit is really lacking, and yet we cannot do it alone, you understand? And then if we realize, we have to realize that these opportunities, if God has given you an opportunity, Regina, if God has given me an opportunity, we may not have the same luck. So if I open the opportunity for you, Regina, maybe God is pushing me to a next opportunity. So me, what I can say is, first of all, is learn to be open to learning. And then secondly is positioning. I want to talk about positioning. Don't just lead because you have to be there. There are some positions that are not influential. Now that is politics in sports.
Now politics.
That is politics in sports. And that is what I usually tell people. Me, I don't position myself where I know I'm not going to prosper or I'm not going to advance to another level.
The next level.
Though you have to start small. Like I started small.
You started at the grassroots.
Exactly, I started at grassroots. But we should also learn to take up the bigger positions. It doesn't matter how old you are. Maybe that time, that is what was available for me.
Or maybe that's what God had planned for you.
You understand? So we should learn how to position ourselves. We should learn to know which positions are great in a federation or in an organization. That is if you want to do management in federations.
Yeah.
For example, like being the president, being the general secretary, being the treasurer, those are top positions. And these are positions that will actually expose you to the other world. Because when you are called to UOC for maybe an AGM, it's the 2 positions that are called for. When you are called to go to the international scene, it's the 2 positions that are called for. And that is where somebody will see you from.
Yes.
So you should learn to position yourself. And then the next thing is to be close to people that matter in your life. People that have the network. You don't need to have almost everyone in your life. You don't need to have so many likes on Facebook. Some people feed on likes on Facebook. Oh, I have friends. But when you get back down in your small bed, when you have a small problem, nobody can even give you a 10,000 note. So I have principles that guide me as Chocho. If I'm not getting anything from you, if you're not adding value to me, not really getting anything from you, but adding value to me, I don't associate with you.
Especially in sports.
Exactly, especially in sports. That is why I come close to you, Gina, because we share something.
Yeah.
You understand? It's easier for me to relate to you because you know my pain. I can know your pain. Oh, I can understand. I can understand. So it's positioning, and then let's not get scared that we cannot do this. And let me tell you something, it's the same problem that is happening in the US.
But I think that's where the aspect of training, education, and self-development comes in. Because then once you have that to back you up, then you're more confident to get out there and actually represent a bigger group.
Regina, who can know that I came from the ghetto right now?
I know. If you hadn't told me, I wouldn't guess. Like, it's not written on your face. So.
Or somebody like me cannot come from the ghetto, but that is where I grew up from. And actually, back at home, they refer to me, most of the ghetto kids refer to me as a sister. They look up to me. I'm like their role model. So I really have to know how to treat myself right, to portray myself,
how you carry yourself,
how to carry myself, because there is a young girl or young boy down there that will want to be like me. You understand? So at the end of the day, I usually tell them, the first thing I tell them is education. Education will make you sit with even the rich.
I saw a picture of you with a very big lady.
Oh my God, rice?
Yeah, like
you cannot imagine. We actually were chatting like we were friends that have known each other for almost like 30 years. But this is a woman I used to see when I was still young, and I was like, wow, because she was
jealous.
Don't be jealous. You're going there.
I'm kidding, of course.
I know because you're near me.
I'm kidding. Yes, I can feel that.
So basically, what I can say is, dreams come true. That is one thing I believe in. My dream came true. I used to see that lady when I was still young. She used to come. She was the secretary of state by then. She used to come here during the Konyi War or something. But you see what happened. I got my ticket, and you see my mentor, like I told you, she's one of the most respected women in the US.
Yes.
So she has the connections, of course. So she made sure that I sit near Rice.
So that the energy comes through.
Exactly.
What? Okay, Chocho, Madam Councillor, what are you working on right now since you got back? Is there something you're working on?
Yes. Like I said, I've been doing some sporting activities among the youth. But right now I have a foundation. The foundation is called SCAUTT Foundation. And we are doing it with a number of good and dedicated young people like me. We really want to make this happen. We really want to give back to the slum communities, the schools, and then most especially the refugee camps. That is some area that we really want to concentrate on. And I've gotten some connections during my visit in the US that are going to keep helping me with this foundation. And people like Eugene, of course, are not going to be left out because
Come on.
you know where we have come from. You know that.
Come on.
So we need to help these young people. We never had people that really pushed us, apart from a few people that we talked about, like the Williams and you know. But we need to make an impact. To be honest,
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can do that. But most importantly, for any young girl or woman watching out there, we're emphasizing training, education, and self-development. Like, look at yourself and value yourself and know that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to become. But to get there, I have to get the necessary training, I have to get the necessary qualifications, the necessary, I have to develop myself.
Exactly.
Yeah? Because nobody's going to develop you unless you decide that this is what I want to do.
Don't feel jealousy about Chocho. Ask her how she
made it
there. And that is what I keep telling my kids in the ghetto, in the slums. I tell them it's our time. We need to help each other. There's nobody who's going to pull us out.
True.
So if you see me up here, be happy that I'm up. That means I'll be able to pull the others. So getting to Chocho's status, you need to develop yourself. Like what I've told you about, the steps I've taken in life. It's been a journey. I've only summarized it in just a few maybe minutes, but it's been long. I've been patient enough. Sports, first of all, is voluntary here in Uganda. It's not, we don't earn from it. You know it, Regina.
Of course.
How much time have we invested in sports?
A lot. A lot.
But we still love it.
And we will continue to do
Exactly.
our part, to do our small roles in our different capacities, and together we hope to build something bigger.
Yes.
Chocho, last words of wisdom. Words of wisdom to any young girl, young woman out there who is seeking for opportunities in sport. What do you tell them?
You don't give up on your dream, and then just know that someday you make it. And then the other thing is you should continue with your education. Education is very, very important. Money will always come your way when you've positioned yourself right. You're not going to expect money from men, because even the money that you get from men will be short-lived. You have to build your own dynasty. You have to build your own empire as a young woman. I've built my own empire that I think there is no man that can break it. If I'm to fall in love with a man, that means I've loved them, but not for their money. And then the other thing is, I would say, be close to people that matter in your life. People that can add value to you. Not people that will always take you astray. By the way, let me tell you one thing. They don't wish you well. They only want you to get destroyed. So, and then the other thing is, just know that Uganda, we have the youngest population. We hold almost 80% of young people. And we are no longer leaders of tomorrow. This is our time.
We're leaders of now.
There's nothing for us without us. So it starts now. Get involved in all levels of leadership so that we can change this nation together.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Chocho, Madam Councillor, Madam Entrepreneur. But I can't stop. Like, I can just keep continuing. I can go on. You're a sports manager. You manage your sports club, the basketball team, Angels.
No, I don't manage it. But of course, I still play basketball. I still play basketball. But then I do manage my foundation, SCAUTT, as the CEO. Though I don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your insightful words of wisdom. I have learned a lot, and I'm going to keep closer to you. You never know, it might, the good energy might spill off to me. We were talking about training, education, and self-development for women in sport. For us to become better managers, you need these aspects in your life. And from the sports, from the desk today, we say thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.